You're listening to Potty Mouth Radio, the home of movies, music, television, and comedy. The following podcast contains spoilers and rude words. We watch TV. We watch TV. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to We Watched a Thing with Billy and Dave. How you doing, buddy?
I'm drained. Physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Were you not entertained? but they even sing the song. That's entertainment.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Because we are, of course, talking about Joker, Folie, Deux, a 2024 American jukebox musical psychological thriller film directed by Todd Phillips from a screenplay he co-wrote with Scott Silver. Loosely based on the DC Comics character, Wikipedia says. It is the sequel to Joker. It stars Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga, Zazie Beetz, Brendan Gleeson, and Catherine Keener. And you have literally just walked out of this, 25 minutes ago? Half an hour ago? Why don't you tell us what it's about?
Not about the Joker. Todd Phillips continuing to demonstrate that he doesn't have original ideas and all he can do is crib off Scorsese. Fucking hell. Yeah, showing my hand. This movie's a fucking pile of shit.
You're not alone there. The movie is flopping. It's got the worst cinema score for any comic book movie ever. To which all I can say is, have you fuckers forgotten about Morbius? Honestly.
This is worse. I will watch Morbius 50 times before I ever even look at the cover of this again.
It's 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's in the 40s
generous.
On Metacritic.
Very
let's
generous.
Get straight into it then. Why don't you start, mate? Given that you kind of already have.
Look, I, as you are well aware, was not a fan of Joker.
No, nor was I.
Yeah, a horrendously pretentious film that I was astonished that anyone who sort of has watched films before didn't think that it was a mediocre at best made film.
I can't remember if it was actually a review of Joker or if it was a review of another film, but one of my favorite Letterboxd reviews of all time, and I think it was Joker, is just one sentence, and all it says is, if you've never been in the ocean, a swimming pool seems deep. And
that was Joker.
That 100% sums up Joker to me.
Yeah, completely. Even remotely scratching beneath the... And this is not news. Every self-respecting reviewer was saying much the same thing.
Yeah.
This is like a film school student who's obsessed with Scorsese, who doesn't have an original idea, thinking, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool if, Scorsese had did a comic book movie," and then just proceeded to crib shamelessly from King of Comedy, Taxi Driver, etc.
Yeah.
And it was so blatantly obvious, and the entire premise of the entire idea of that film I found nauseatingly pretentious.
Yes.
Comic book movies are shit. I can't remember if Scorsese had lambasted the MCU and everything.
I'm sure that was before. Yeah, I'm sure it was. Yeah.
So my idol thinks they're shit, so let's try and make one that my idol would like.
From memory, Todd Phillips actually tried to get Scorsese involved in the first one.
Well,
yes?
Scorsese was, I remember reading, was at one point was interested in directing either, I don't know if it was that Joker film or just a film about Joker. I don't know whether there was a connection between that and Phillips, or if Phillips just came on later and coincidentally is obsessed with Scorsese. But the entire idea of, you comic book people, this is not art, this is not serious cinema. I'll show you serious cinema, and I'll do it in your genre to show you how, fatuous and silly your films are, and how mine is a work of art. And it was, he's not a good enough writer, director, or anything to be able to deliver on that wildly arrogant flex.
Yeah.
And so we got what you would expect to get, which was a pretentious try-hard film that was, as you say, it was a kiddie pool pretending to be the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
I didn't think that he could get more pretentious. But I was look. I'm prepared to admit when I'm wrong, and I was wrong. This is a far more pretentious film. At least the original Joker attempted to say some serious things about mental health. I don't like the way they were said. I think it was ham-fisted, but there were some genuine points that he was trying to make. I just think they shouldn't have been in a ostensibly DC comic book film. The film shouldn't have been called Joker. If that's what he wanted to do, it should have been just about some other person.
Interesting.
And he could have made those points. In this film, he's not even trying to make any points about anything, I don't think. Or if he is, they're so badly done and overshadowed by all of his other ridiculous posturing that I can't even give it that saving grace.
The prevailing theory, which it cannot be right, but honestly, there are going to be academic essays written about this film and what happened with it and what was going on in Phillips's mind during the making of it. I'm not even being facetious there. There's going to be academic articles written about this, studying what happened with this film. The prevailing theory is that it is bad on purpose as a fuck you to the audience. Which cannot. There's no way that Warner Brothers would spend $200 million if that was the case.
I don't believe
that. But
that
is the prevailing theory is that the theme of this film, if you will, is that Lady Gaga Harley Quinn is a stand-in for the audience. That the audience who, was really fervoured and everything by the first Joker, Phillips is trying to make the point here that those people are exactly the same. They only care about the Joker and they don't care about Arthur Fleck. And as soon as, in the same way that she turns on him, the audience is turning on this film. That is the prevailing theory. I don't think that is the case.
Something that Shyamalan says 6 months after his serious thriller is laughed out of cinemas, and he says, "Oh no, it was always a dark comedy." No, it's not. You made a bad film, and you're trying to cover for it.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing.
He's not Paul Thomas Anderson. He's fucking the guy that gave us the shitty Hangover comedy.
Here's the thing. I actually think that theory is a half-truth. I do not believe that the film is supposed to be bad, but I do believe that is actually the theme of the film and what it's trying to say, is that Harley Quinn is a stand-in in this film for the audience, and that we don't care about Arthur Fleck. We only care about Joker, and we want Joker, and this film isn't giving us what we deliver. People are even discussing the dream sequence, the Sonny and Cher dream sequence, where she turns to him and she says, "I don't think we're giving the audience what they want."
This film is in part certainly a response to the, probably 30-40% of the world who, because the first one was very, people seem to either think it was 5 out of 5 or 1 out of 5. There didn't seem to be a whole lot of 3.5 out of 5s on Joker.
Yeah.
And I think this is absolutely in part a response to the 1 out of 5 cohort, which I firmly
see. I mean, the theory is that this is more a response to the 5 out of 5 cohort. Like, that's what people are claiming. That I think that's. I would say the opposite. I think this is him attempting to say, "Oh, you all complained because this wasn't your Joker," and the coda on this film, the final scene, is that this is
absolutely lends into that. No, this wasn't your Joker. Ha ha ha! Joke's on you. Go back and fix, rethink your 1 out of 5s. I was smarter all along. And I don't think when he made the first Joker, he had any intention or thought that this wasn't Joker as from.
Oh, no. Yes. And it was not supposed to have a sequel. It was not. Before we get too deep, though, I'm just going to do this. Big Tizzle's Big Call.
This is the greatest cinematic achievement.
It's not. It's not a good movie. This is better than the first one for me. I'm being dead serious. I genuinely enjoyed this on a level that I did not enjoy the first one at. This is not a good movie. It's far too long. I think there's many, many, many flaws with it. But I do think that this is a better film than the first one, for me at least. I actually do think that this film is at least trying to do something. And I don't think it does it well. But I do think that it's at least trying to do something. And honestly, I was much more engaged in this film than I was for a second of the first film.
Oh, far out. Do you remember how long the first one is? I know it was
Much shorter than this. Much shorter than
yeah.
this. It was under 2 hours. This movie's knocking on the door of 2.5.
Yeah, this felt like the longest film I've seen in the last decade.
Yeah.
This was interminably tedious.
Well, I think the pacing is well off.
What I did want to say, the first, I don't know, 20 minutes, maybe even half an hour, I was genuinely enjoying this, and I thought, "Oh, this is going to be a 3.5 out of 5."
Okay, here's the thing then, and you and I are the complete opposite. Look, there's a lot of people out there saying that this movie's flopping because it's a musical, and that alone is not giving the audience what they want. I don't think that's the reason people aren't going to see this. People are not going to see it because of the bad word of mouth even from the previews.
It's not a shit film because it's got a few bad musical numbers. I mean, the musical numbers are bad.
Well,
and they shouldn't be there.
Honestly, I liked this film after the musicality started. The first half hour is a very straight film. You get that first song number that Joker sings when, they're watching the news and they're like, "Oh, you're going to fry. How do you feel about this?" And he bursts into song.
That was kind of the turning point for me because I thought that scene was terrible.
It's a bad scene, but I liked it much more from that point onwards when it actually leaned into doing something. I think here's the thing for me, and I'm sure that you'll agree with me because you're a musical nut and you actually love musicals. I tend to not like musicals. I think when a musical is written well, it can be good. I don't think many are written well. This is not a musical. I'm going to go out there and say that. This is a film with songs. The songs do not progress the story forward. And almost every song is either its own dream sequence that you are aware of from the very start, a la the Sonny and Cher sequence, and there's about 5 of those, or they're very, very quickly just like, "Oh yeah, that was in his head," and it's like that's fine if that's what you're going for, but none of it actually progresses the story forward. There's no emotion or plot drivingness to any of the songs in this film. It's not a musical.
And I can't think where it was. I did read someone writing saying, "Oh, it's kind of like Blues Brothers, where it's a lot of the tracks are diegetic. They're in film, but there are some musical numbers that are, where the whole in Blues Brothers, the whole street joins in a song and dance number. That's not obviously not happening in real life.
Yeah.
So this is and equating this to that, but I'm with you. I think the songs are either him singing in real life because he's nuts, and people around him just know he's nuts and he's in an asylum, so people don't comment on it being weird, or they are dream sequences where people aren't meant to. There are no musical numbers, certainly that I can recall, where anyone other than Joker and Harley sing.
Yes. Yeah. They are the only two that sing.
There are no... the musical numbers are not used as a directorial device to convey emotion or progress or whatever. They are either happening inside his head as a dream, and we are shown that they're a dream, or they are him just singing because he's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Agree. Yeah. So honestly, there are too many songs in this. For a film that is not actually a musical, in my opinion, it's just a movie with a fuckload of songs in it. There's too many. You make your point after 1 or 2, honestly, because they're not driving the plot forward.
Some of them really go on. Like, I'm obviously not going to criticize Madame Gaga's voice because she's phenomenal.
She's the best thing about the film.
Joaquin Phoenix does not, and I know he's been in other things where he's sung, but he's not a great singer. Even the best of his, and the Sonny and Cher's probably where his voice is the least bad.
Yeah.
But it's still not good. That's fine when they're kind of mumbling 2 lines of a song to each other.
Yes.
It's not fine when you've got an entire song, a number presented in its entirety, because then you're just sitting through a really bad karaoke rendition.
Yeah.
That is not adding to the plot or anything. So therefore, it begs the question: why the fuck am I sitting through a 3-minute song?
And that's the biggest problem.
Done badly.
And here's the thing for me: I am not a Lady Gaga fan by any stretch. I don't like a lot of her music. I did not like A Star Is Born. She is both the best and worst thing about this. She is the best thing in the film, and the worst thing in the film is that she's supremely underutilized.
Oh yeah, completely. Harley
Harley
Quinn
Quinn
is
is
dirty in this.
not in this. I thought part of the whole subversion was going to be that, hey, it's not actually Harley Quinn, because she's introduced as Lee, and that's all she's referred to for about the first hour and a half until a lawyer refers to her as Harleen Quinzel.
Which would have been great if the trailer hadn't already shown her in fucking Harley Quinn getup and everyone knew she was playing Harley Quinn.
Okay, yeah.
If we'd got to that point and it was like a reveal that she's Harley Quinn, because she's in normal clothes, there's no, she's just, I mean, any comic fan would still have put it together, but I think it would have been far more successful if they hadn't just fucking blown that. There was no surprise. Everyone knew she was going to be Harley Quinn.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk to you about the characterization of Harley Quinn in this film, because I think that for a film that is 2.5 hours long, it's very, very lacking in the character development department.
Oh, there is none.
My biggest thing is Harley Quinn. Like, even by the end of the film, we still don't know what her motives are. Is she crazy? Is she faking everything? Yeah. If she is, why? I don't understand the purpose of even using that character if you're going to use her like this. Like, did you feel the same way?
So you can have Lady Gaga in your film, and you can have a character that people like. I think it's as shallow as that. The writing in both of these films, from a character, I mean, not just from a character point of view, but just the logic of them is so lacking.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found most frustrating about the first film is that it's completely unbelievable that this zero charisma, nothing loony, who's so far on the spectrum that it's obvious to all and sundry, no cult of personality is building up around a guy with no personality. That shit just doesn't happen.
Oh,
the fact.
I don't want to get political on this show, but there's a lot of fervent Trump fans out there, and that's a guy with zero.
Yeah. Well, no. I would. He's a fucking psycho, and he's evil, and all the rest of it. But he has charisma for the people that he's talking to.
Yeah,
he's got a huge amount of charisma.
Yeah,
it's just that the rest of us see through it.
But I think that that's the thing, and I do think that is thematically part of this film, is that Arthur Fleck is.
If you believe what Trump's saying, you're buying into it. Arthur Fleck is a guy who's obviously crazy and just killed a bunch of people.
No, that's right.
On TV.
Arthur Fleck is, but Joker is. I mean, yes, he did just kill a bunch of people on TV. There are people who would applaud that shit. Honestly, it happens every fucking time.
Courtroom applaud him.
The people who are turning up, yeah. The people who want to go, like, this is clearly an open courtroom. Like, people are choosing to go, and they are choosing to go because he is who he is. I mean, it's the same every time.
The people he killed.
Every time a fucking incel goes off his nut and shoots up a bunch of women, sure, 95% of the population are like, well, that was fucked. But there are a 5% who are very vocally like, yeah, you champion. And I think
you reckon it's believable that hordes of people gather, wearing makeup, holding placards, cheering for someone who's just a crazy guy that killed 6 people?
See, I think it makes sense in context, although I was sure that the first film was set in Gotham. Was it not?
I don't remember.
Because this film, they actually...
DC's really murky with it. Because sort of way back, DC was the thing that made DC... Well, one of the things that made DC different from Marvel is that it wasn't set in our world. You didn't
Well, that's right. You had Metropolis and Gotham.
Star City and Central City.
Whereas Marvel's always very strictly been real.
But since then... they started using the real cities as well. So you do have Gotham, etc., and Metropolis, but you also have New York.
Because I could have sworn that the first one was set in Gotham, but this one they actually say New York. So I was a bit like, oh, that's interesting. But I do think that in certain contexts, you would have people, because... I mean, the whole idea of Gotham is that it is a shitty fucking city. It's New York in the 80s taken to the next degree. It is a place that is so overwhelmed with crime and with majority of dirty cops and stuff that the whole thing about Joker is that he is speaking up for the people of the city who are just being shat on. And I think that is what is supposed to be happening, and that's why you get people being like, yes, here's our boy, he's looking out for us. And I think you're right. I don't think that it's executed well enough for you to actually feel that. But I
No,
do
I don't
think
think so.
that in the context you would get people are fucked. Is the long and short of it.
It's yet another indication of
And I mean, and that
poor I think the writing is.
again, that's one of the things that people are saying is part of the statement of this film. Like when the first one came out and they had to station extra security guards on theaters because they were so worried that the first film was going to incite real violence. And I can't remember if it actually did in the end, but
Surely not.
you know, people are fucked.
Oh man! I'll look. Also, one positive. I do think the acting is really good across the board.
I agree. Yeah,
not just. I mean, Phoenix, I think is very good.
I actually think that this is one of the things where I think that this film is better than the first. I actually think that Joaquin's performance in this film is a lot better, but I do think that that's because his character is treated very differently in this film, and I do think that he actually gets to show quite a bit more range in this film.
I think that. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons that I like that. I mean, leaving aside the god awful animated intro, which was what a misstep. That was fucking awful. But that first stretch where it's just a prison movie essentially, and you've just got
this is Shawshank.
Yeah, well, it's kind of, but you've got this guy who had been, tabloid star on top of the world, kind of, and just. I think the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes where he is just a shell of a man, I think his acting is really good. And I think it's shot really, really well. Everything about that before Philip starts trying to, quote unquote, say anything where he's just making a movie. I think that was excellent. And I was surprised. I was sitting there going, oh my God, this is going to be a good movie. And then, he starts being Tom Phillips and directing. But I mean, there was still some good. I mean, the interview with Steve Coogan I thought was a fantastic scene.
Yeah.
There's some of the court. I mean, it attempts to turn it into a courtroom drama really badly at the end, but some of the stuff in the courtroom I thought was really good, especially what was his name, Gary Puddles, the
little person,
little guy. That was he acting MVP of the movie. He almost had me in tears when he was doing his little speech about you were the only guy that never picked on me, that never made me and now I feel so small and so helpless. That was a fantastic scene. So there was some good stuff.
I tell you one thing that really shocked me. I laughed out loud at least 3 times in this film, and I did not think that would happen. There's one point
you were meant to laugh at.
Yeah, actual jokes in the film. There was one point when he's made himself lawyer, and he just says to Lady Gaga, "I should probably read a law book," and I don't know. That got me. I chuckled a little. I liked all of the callbacks.
If you've never seen an ocean, it's really cool,
I liked all of the callbacks to the TV movie about his life, where he keeps asking her if it was good, and then in the courtroom, someone references it being awful, and he looks back at her, and he's like,
when he looks back at her, and went awful.
Yeah, I genuinely thought that was actually a funny moment. So, look, I'm not saying this is a good movie by any stretch. I don't think it's good. I think it's far too long. I think it needs a good 40 minutes trimmed out of it. I don't think, again, same as the first one, whatever theme it is trying to say, I don't think it is as deep as it thinks it is, or as it demonstrates itself to be. Again, I do think that we're going to see essays written about this film. I think people are really going to study what the fuck happened here, because the first film had a budget of about 40 million from memory. This had a budget of over 200. And that is absolutely wild. Well, that's my question too, because it's, for the most part, not a very flashy movie. But I will say,
there's one
the production design,
inexplicably he walks away from, and everyone else is unconscious or dead.
Yeah.
Despite the fact he was literally the closest person
I
to the explosion.
I know. It's fucking ridiculous. I will say that the production design is actually really quite solid. I don't know if it's filmed in a real prison or not, but like,
it looked good.
Yeah.
But 200 million, that is insane for this film.
Yeah.
I know it's super long, probably was about 3.5 hours before they started editing, but that is insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a 5 out of 10.
Jesus Christ. What is it, Christmas? Look, I'll give it 2.
A 2?
And that's only for the first 20 minutes, half an hour, and for the acting. I think this is a god-awful movie. It's worse than I expected. And it felt even worse than it is because the start of it was quite good. And God, this movie, I feel like it's still going.
The pacing was cooked.
It's so long.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank God we won't get a third one.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't the Joker after all.
All right. Well, next week, I believe we're getting to Terrifier 3, are we? Is that what comes out this week?
I did my dues. I watched Terrifier 2, speaking of 2.5-hour movies that were an hour too long. But I'm intrigued to see the third one, having watched Terrifier 2 and the behind-the-scenes documentary.
Yeah, I'm curious, because, of course, it is Halloween season, so then the week after that, we also get Smile 2, and then after that...
good films.
And then, then we get to end on the best film of the year, I'm sure, because we end October with Venom: The Last Dance, so fuck yes.
Is Craven not coming out this year?
December, I believe. I got an ad for it at the cinema.
We've got two shitty bloody... Spider movies.
I think it comes out the week after Wicked, which I'm also not at all pumped for. We're doing it. We got to do it for the show.
I spent years wanting to see Wicked because I like Defying Gravity, and the kids always wanted to see it, and we never could go. And now, they're making a movie. The trailer for that looks fucking abysmal.
Sure does. Yeah. So that's the next couple of weeks. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at pottymouthradio.com or on Facebook at the Facebook listener community, Pottymouth Radio. You can go check out the Patreon page and check out our bonus series like Shyamalanigans, where we're ripping through all of M. Night Shyamalan's filmography. We're about to record Signs tonight.
What? I reckon I'm giving an extra star than I normally would to Signs just having come out of Joker. You're welcome, Shyamalan.
So go check all that out, and we'll catch you next week.
See ya.